Okay, so I'm at the Sandy Vale Memorial Gardens. If you read it, established 1856, renewed 1961. But I'm going to tell you what this is Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and this is now it's open to the public, but the owners can close it whenever they want and stop the public from coming in whenever they want. It's a dog park down here at the end. But so this whole area was a cemetery. This whole area was a big cemetery, and there's a river, but it's the Army National came in and concreted everything. It's still a river there though, to control the flooding, because this is Johnstown. I'm sure you people heard of the Johnstown flood. So where thousands and thousands of people died here during the flood. So you have a lot of old cemetery graveyards here, but there's something very interesting here. As you can see, most of the gravestones have been removed. So what's so interesting about this is that the bodies are still here. So these larger stones. So this death was Lewis Plitt. Looks like he was a Mason. Died in 1881. Okay, so the larger stones were left because I guess it was just too dangerous, and they decided to leave the very large stones in the ground. They just figured, you know, why not leave a few of them? The large ones here is no big deal, right? So anyway, so what they did, they pulled up all the headstones. Let's see what this, I'll tell you, I'll finish my story in a second here. So this person died 1891, Emmanuel DC and Strayer. Oh, I'm sorry, initials. It sounded like it's a company, but it's not. It's initials. Strayer, born September 1872, died 1891, so kind of young. So, okay, so let me finish my story. So they gathered all the tombstones, the smaller ones, and they put them in a big pile. They laid them out next to each other, and that's where I'm walking towards now. But it'll take a minute. But there's a couple of interesting things to see here. So, and of course, they had this community garden. I'm sure it does very well because this soil is on top of the dead, and they have some kind of. Oops, sorry, my camera work is not so great. They have some kind of greenhouse there. So what they do here now, the people who own this property, it's mainly like they have concerts here, and different organizations can rent it out. I've seen, you know, different groups renting this out, and I think they even do weddings here. I'm not sure, but then they'll have like wine tasting celebrations here with bands and stuff like that. But again, if you look around, all this land still has the bodies buried in the ground. What is that movie? There was a famous haunted movie where I forgot the name of it. I'm not good with names, but anyway, where the people brought their house and discovered it was on top of a graveyard, and the house kind of gave them a lot of problems. So I'm just curious. I've never heard of any haunted stories out here. Never heard of any stories that people saying this place is haunted. So anyway, so here's a memorial. So these are, let's see. In honor of those who served in the armed forces of the United States whose remains are in Sandyville Cemetery in graves known only to God. So a lot of them are forgotten. So you have Revolutionary War. You have one Revolutionary War soldier buried here. You have the War of 1812. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 people buried here. You have Indian Wars. looks like it says, let's see what it says here. The Mexican War, Indian War, you have, looks like Theodore Carley. Revolutionary War, you have a Thomas Butler, that's what it says. Thomas Butler. And then you have the Mexican War, you have 3 soldiers from the Mexican War. And then you have the Civil War, which plenty of Civil War soldiers are buried here. Plenty of names. Then even, this is interesting, you have the Spanish-American War, and you have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 soldiers that died. Looks like they died in the Spanish-American War. See, that's the thing, they don't tell you. And then you have World War I, you have 3, 6, 9, 12, 16 soldiers from the World War II that are buried here. And then of course, World War I, and then you only have, looks like 2 from World War II buried here, which is very interesting because you know, I would think that there would be a lot of World War II soldiers buried here, but there's more Civil War soldiers here. But you know, this is an old place. So here's the Civil War. So again, and here's a Civil War cannon right there. So, but the thing of it is, I don't know if the bodies of these Civil War soldiers are buried right here in this little memorial place here. That's Civil War. These are all Pennsylvanian people, 1865. So these guys died in the Civil War. Okay, so the other names, so while this guy didn't die in the Civil War, some of these names, when they died in 1865, that means they died in the Civil War. But some of them survived the Civil War and died, and then still got buried here. So 1864. But I don't know if their bodies are here in this memorial, octagon-shaped memorial here, or they just took the plaques, and because these plaques look like they were redone, so maybe they redone some of these plaques. Oh, here is maybe they redid some of these burial plats and just put them in as a remembrance. So what does that say here? So I can't even read it, but I'm sure you guys can read it. All right, so, and there's another plaque over here. I'm going to take you to where all the tombstone headstones have been placed. So this says, okay, this is just a plaque from, oops, sorry, my camera work is, again, I'm still learning how to do all this stuff. Okay, well, here's some more names too, so I'll just show you real quick. Cleveland, Emmerich, Private, U.S. Army, World War I. So, you know, this kind of tells me that this is Civil War. This kind of tells me that these plaques were made later as a memorial and then placed here, and I don't think the bodies are actually here. 1887. So, again, but like I was saying, this whole area is an old cemetery that was turned into a park. Okay, so now I'm going to take you guys, and back at the end of this trail to the right. So anyway, so this is where they put most of the headstones. Now you got to imagine too, since this was, you had the Revolutionary War, you have a Mexican Indian War here, the Spanish War, you had just about every war. Soldiers are buried here. But not just soldiers, it's not just soldiers cemetery. There's plenty of others buried here too. So here, let me show you rows and rows of this. So this is what they did. They just gathered all the tombstones and they placed them here together and left the bodies in the ground. Okay, so here's an interesting one. This is John Swegler, in the Mexican War, born 1823, died February 27, 1894. Buried at sea. Okay, so his body was never brought. Here's a World War I soldier. Obviously survived it. Lived into the 1952. This person died 1890. Robert Weir. And this is I've seen a lot of tombstones out here in Pennsylvania like this, where they put the father. That one just says at rest, 1885, and here they put the mother. So this was a style back in the late 1800s. I'm trying to find a really. Oh, here's one from 1870. If you see it, Jane, wife of Eustace. You know, that's a really old name. I'm sure nobody uses that name anymore. Here's one, 1889. And I hope it doesn't rain on me where I have to cancel this video and do it all over again. That's 1921. This tombstone is fallen over. There's a lot from the 20s, and here's one from 1869. Reverend Thomas Evans, 1834, 1869. He wasn't that old. So here's a really old one here behind him. And I don't even see a date on it. Here's another really old one. George Nees, 1869 it looks like. So I've never seen, I'm sure there's others, other grave sites where they just took the headstones and did something else with the land, because I mean, back in the day, you know, this land was probably some old farm. And look at this old tree here. Look how big this old tree is. This tree's probably been around since the Civil War easily. So that tree looks like a couple of 200-300 years old, or probably older. Here's one from 1857, so that one's pretty old. Jeremiah Height, August 1815 to July 24th, 1857. That's a really old one. Here's 1875. George Height. And here's this is all family, right? All the Heights. 1897. So, but like I said, they not too often do you find places like this where they just took all the headstones out and placed them because they wanted the land. I don't know how they were able to convince the county or anything, how they would say, hey, we should desecrate. I want to say desecrate, I don't know. I mean, to me it's a sad thing. Here's a very small one to say, hey, let's just take all the tombstones and let's place them in a spot so we can have this land to have wine celebration parties on, because that's really what they do here. But look at this old tree. This thing is huge and it's very old. Very old. It's amazing. You don't see many old trees like that anymore. They cut them down and they take the wood for something. So, but this is it's pretty old grave site here. These look like a lot from the 1900s on up. I think the youngest, the least oldest grave market here is probably from the 1930s, and here's one from 1932. Everything else, I mean, well, here's one from 1955, so I was wrong. 1955. So here's one for 1956. There's one 1881 back there, and it's just very unusual for me, you know. I can understand part of it, you know. Hey, you know, we need this land. We need this land would be very useful for a lot of things, but it's not owned by the government. It's privately owned, and we're not trespassing or nothing like that. Like I said, it's open to the public, but they have the right to shut it down anytime they want to, and they make their own rules. Oh, here's a really old one here. Well, at least it looks really old. Died 1862. Can you see that? 1862. I mean, there's a lot of them out here, and I've seen some very decorative ones. Let's see if we can find some of them. I don't know if I haven't been out here in a while. I used to go bike riding out here. They got a trail that goes all the way around the whole place. You know, it's a nice place to come to, but it just seems strange when you're walking in. You're walking over bodies that, you know, kind of desecrated, like how they just took away all the tombstones and just piled them up here. But you know, in other countries, I heard that they move bodies a lot to make room for new bodies. So they have some really very ornate, not super ornate, but they have some ornate tombstones out here. And but it's been a little bit, here's 1885. It's been a little while since I've been out here, so I'm kind of like also remembering. Ah, here's one that I remember. This is very unusual. So here's one, a tombstone that made to look like a log, and let's see what it says. War World. Okay, what does this say? Oh, it's a William J. Kurtz, 1879, died 1909, so he was a veteran. That doesn't say though. What does this say here? Woodman. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm moving. I'm reading, so I'm not paying attention to the camera use. Woodman of the World Memorial. Oh, so Woodman of the World Memorial is what it says, and that's why they made it look like a log. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Anyway. So they have quite a few here, but it looks like we're getting into the first set group I showed you was from the mid 1880s, or even older than that. But here's one. Oh yeah, 1881. 1881 looks like. Okay, so anyway. Oh, and there's a train that's going by. I can hear it, you can barely see it. But this place is pretty big, so, I'm sure the people decided that, hey, we want this land. And maybe it changed hands several times. And, maybe, I'm sure at the beginning they didn't decide, oh, let's just turn this place into a wine tasting place, because that's basically what it is. Parties and celebrations and for rental. So it's a business. So 1885, our mother Nancy, wife of George Bean, died May 31st, 1885, 86 years of age and 6 days. And so Father Bean, who died in 1879, 85 years of age. And so this is, and they had room for others, but maybe the children moved and decided not to be buried here or something. I don't know. So, but usually when you see just the mother and father are buried there, and that's it. And usually when you see these multi-sided these multi-sided outdoor crypts. Well, here's an old one. Our father Jacob Horner, founder. Oh, here we go, guys. Look at this. Founder and proprietor of Sandy Vale Cemetery. So he was the owner, Horner. And guess what, guys? You're not going to believe this. Hornerstown. This place is called Hornerstown in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, but this town is called Hornerstown. So they named it, I'm pretty sure. I haven't lived here long, guys, just a few years. So I don't really know the history too much. I just find these grave sites everywhere, and I find it fascinating how they did a lot of things. So anyway, he was the founder. So our mother. So he was the original founder of this place. So it sounds like to me that maybe it was always some kind of business here. Like, it was a cemetery business. So these people made their living selling plots here. And then, so because it was a private property business always, somebody just bought it and then decided, okay, maybe it's changed hands several times, and maybe all of this land was full of bodies. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think there's enough tombstones there to fill all this area, but somebody decided, okay, we can use this. We'll buy the property and turn it into something else. So here's 1894. Now, why they left these, and here's actually, one is 1886 Jacoby's. Here's an old one. Oh no, that's not that old. 1913. So I'm putting pieces together as I speak. So I actually forgot about this Horner. I remember reading that before, but like I said, it's probably been a year since I've been out here. So this town is called Hornerstown in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And we saw there's the original proprietor who had this business, and he ran it as a cemetery and sold plots and made his money that way. So I guess that's why they were able to just, somebody was able to come in, buy this property and move. At least they saved the headstones, so I give them credit for that. They did save the headstones. So, but it's pretty interesting, guys. So you got Revolutionary War soldier here. You have Mexican War soldiers. You have World War I, World War II, Civil War. Plenty of Civil War soldiers are buried here. And there's a couple more. I just, top of my head, I can't think. But anyway, so that's it, guys. And so first time I'll make one final thought here. So first time I came out here, I was like amazed. What's this? American Angel. Okay. All right. Just some kind of statue. I don't really care about art so much. That kind of art, anyway. Anyhow, so I didn't show the backside of this. These are 1915s. Like I said, so this plot right here is the youngest stone. So at least they had some kind of organization when they put all these here. And then when we get over to this one, it gets a little bit older. And then of course the final one is the oldest. So that's it. Just interesting how they, when I first came out here, like I'll finish my thought. When I first came out here, I was surprised to see all these gravestones placed like this. I was like, well, what's going on? And it took me about 5 minutes to figure out that, oh wow, this whole place was a grave site, a graveyard. So what's this? 1877. Well, that's an old one there. But look, it was made very well because it lasted. Look, you can see all the letters very clearly. In memory of John Ott. I've seen that name here. somewhere else around this town before. 1827, 1877. His wife Anna, 1888. So John Ott died in 1877. So anyway, yeah, very interesting. So I just thought I would share this. Oh, actually, this is the oldest one. So, oh, here's a really old one. Did I show you this one? I don't think so. Our baby. I hate to see baby. It says our baby. Charles H. Died 18. Oh, I can't read it. $1873 it looks like. Yeah, 1873. Just 1 year old. Kind of ornate though, you know, for that time period. But yeah, they really at least they put them in order, you know. Anyhow, so that's the end of the video, guys. Another couple of big trees here. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's not so entertaining, this one, but it's kind of interesting how they, you know, turn this into a park. I just can't, I don't know, I had never gotten over. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to extend this a little while because I do remember some very interesting. There's a plaque over here. So also I think this area was part of the Underground Railroad system. It was, I remember reading this. So this area was part of the Underground Railroad. So there was a lot of people who helped slaves to escape it out of here, well, around here. So I forgot all about this. I read this before, so yeah, here it is. Okay, so I'll let you read it a little bit here. I'll help. We'll read it together. Escape of freedom seekers, Patrick and Abraham. Okay, so it was about 2 slaves who escaped. For you don't have us yet. On February the 12th, 1837, 2 slaves, brothers Patrick and Abraham, escaped from the Fruit Hill farm of Colonel John Sherrod in Bath, Virginia. They were pursued by slave catchers into Pennsylvania. Having been wounded along the way, they were assisted in Guystown, which is not far from here, guys, by William Slick, who sent them to Johnstown, okay? While in the custody of authorities, the freedom seekers escaped. Slave catchers John Compson and Edward Maxwell filed suit and named Henry Willis, William Barnett, John Myers. I know a lot of Myers people, a lot of Myers in this area. Wallace Fortune, Isaac Weatherton, John Cushion, and Frederick Kaler as assistant in the escape of Patrick and Abraham. The suit was dismissed. And my brain is shutting down. Charles says, okay. So anyway, so this is the trail that they took. In Guystown, they are protected by Williams, Johnstown, okay? And then here, they're protected by these people. And then Buckstown, following the Indian Trail. So that's it, guys. Pretty interesting, huh? So there's history here. There's lots of history here. Okay, so thank God I remembered to show you that. I hope you found that interesting. So it's just a short story, basically, of 2 slaves who were able to escape and came through this area and was helped by a lot of people, it looks like. And they were taken to court and they all beat their charges. So you know, Johnstown has a history of helping slaves, and you know, it's pretty, back in the day, there's like a church here on every corner. Like every corner, I'm not kidding you. Look, every 1 or 2 streets, 3 or 4 blocks sometimes, there's churches. So many, I've never seen a place with so many churches. So a lot of churches out here. Anyway, so I guess it has a big history of churchgoers out here, obviously. And a lot of these churches are abandoned now. It's sad. I should do some recordings of these beautiful old churches out here. They're just sitting empty for a long time. Anyway, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you ever get a chance to come out to Johnstown, make sure you visit this area, because the Sandy Vale is it's pretty interesting. You can see these stones for yourself. Okay, you guys have a good one. Bye.